Hi, and welcome to the Reopening Ushers training. I want to thank you for taking this training so that we can move forward with reopening St. John to limited attended worship. We have been very blessed to worship digitally during the recent stay-home phase of this pandemic, but it is now time to move into the next phase of controlled attendance. Unfortunately, it means things are not back to normal. Thus, your worship leader role as an usher is essential. A special task force on reopening is developing best practices and procedures to help protect the body of Christ at St. John. We must maintain a safe and clean environment for the worshipers and the health of all folks who utilize this campus. The following steps are to protect the health of those who enter the church building, including yours. 1. Everyone over the age of 2 who enters the church building must wear a mask. 2. You are encouraged to wash your hands with soap and water frequently and use hand sanitizer as you enter the church and as needed. 3. Please practice social distancing by maintaining a distance of 6 feet. Please ask yourself the following health questions. 1. Have you had signs or symptoms of respiratory infection in the last 14 days? This includes fever over 99.6, shortness of breath, sore throat, chills, repeated shakes with chills, headache, and the new loss of taste or smell. 2. Have you had atypical symptoms such as new or worsening malaise, dizziness, or diarrhea? 3. Have you been infected with COVID-19 and have not had 2 consecutive negative results? 4. Have you had close contact with a person infected with COVID-19 in the last 14 days? 5. Have you had close contact with a person who has had possible exposure or symptoms? 6. Have you been in a community other than the Metro Orlando area where there is an identified high rate of COVID-19? 7. Have you been on a cruise or traveled internationally in the last 14 days? 8. Are you currently under quarantine for any reason? Currently, CDC guidelines recommend that if you have a weakened immune system, predisposing health conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, and lung disease, or are over the age of 65, please consult your healthcare professional before coming into the church building. Please arrive at church by 9 a.m. As an usher, you will enter the church through the back parking lot entrance. You will be required to go to the sign-in cart located in the back hallway near the sacristy for self-screening. You will need to fill out and sign the St. John Volunteer Waiver and Release. This is one time only. Each Sunday, you will be required to fill out and sign the screening tool questionnaire, as well as undergo a temperature check. If you answer yes to any of the health questions, or if your temperature is over 99.6 degrees, you will not be allowed entrance into the church building. As the glass doors to the courtyard will be closed, please enter and exit the nave through the sacristy door. Access is limited to the vestry, sacristy, narthex, nave and chancel, family restrooms in the back hallway, or the narthex restrooms. Remember, you must wear a mask. If you do not have one, the church can supply you one. Also, please wear a St. John Rises 2020 t-shirt. If you do not have one, please contact the church office. When proceeding to the narthex, go through the sacristy and then on into the narthex. On Sunday morning, one set of the glass doors into the Welcome Center on the north side of the narthex will be opened 15 minutes before service and is the only entrance available. A greeter at the door will help facilitate safe spacing for folks attending worship. As a group enters the building, your job as an usher begins. 1. Find out how many people are in the party. You will be issued a hand counter. Please maintain a count of how many folks you have seated. Large parties are seated along the center aisle of the nave. Small groups or individuals should be placed on the outside aisles near the pillars. These rows are shorter and thus hold fewer people. When looking at the seating drawing, rows 7 and 8 are shorter rows and thus seat fewer people. These rows should be used for very small groups or individuals. In section 4, there are several rows that are short due to the pillars. These are also rows to be utilized for small groups or individuals. Number 2, if anyone needs to use the restrooms, please ask them to be seated first and then use them. The only restrooms available are the ones next to the narthex. Only one person or family group may be in the restroom at a time. Number 3, we understand that many people have their favorite spot in the pews. However, we request pews be filled front to back, utilizing every other row. Closed rows are marked. All parties are seated on the pew ends with a 6-foot buffer zone marked off between the groups. These buffer zones are to be left open and not crossed. Number 4, give folks a printed bulletin and suggest that they take that home or deposit it in the recycle bin as they exit the nave via the north side doors. We will not be collecting an offering using the collection plates. Please encourage the worshipers to use electronic giving. Otherwise, they can leave their envelope in the marked baskets as they enter the nave or exit for communion. Ushers should not accept offering envelopes. Number 6, we will not be observing the passing of the peace during the service at this time. Holy Communion. To better maintain physical distancing indoors, we are modifying our worship service and placing the distribution of Holy Communion for the congregation after the benediction, while the pastoral assistant, communion assistants, cantors, and organists will receive communion simultaneously as our digitally gathered congregation. The attending parishioners in the pews will receive communion as they are dismissed by the ushers and exiting the building. Otherwise, the service will be the same as that we've used over the past 3 months. Ushers will dismiss one pew at a time, first on the choir side, directing people to the side doors where the pastor and assistant will be waiting. The congregational pulpit side is dismissed after the choir side, 1 row at a time. Looking at the seating drawing, section 1 will be the first to leave, starting at row 0 and then proceeding to row 9. Then section 2, 0 to 9, then section 3, 0 to 9, and then finally section 4. Each communicant will come forward to the pastor with their hands cupped. Pastor will drop the wafer or gluten-free wafer into the communicant's hands. The communicant steps over to the assistant, who places a small cup of wine or grape juice, if requested, on the table in front of them. The communicant picks up the cup and drinks it. Afterwards, places the empty cup in the nearby basket and immediately exits to the parking lot. Ushers will commune last and exit the building. They may come around to the back entrance to retrieve any personal belongings they may have left in the vestry. Parishioners not partaking in Holy Communion are requested to exit the building as the ushers dismiss them. Altar guild will remain in the chancel and sacristy areas for the cleaning of communion vessels. Cantors remain in their seats until the service has completed and the broadcast concluded. Blessings for children are given without physical contact.